what made it time for a brick and mortar? Like what made it time for a real salon?
Well, I was operating this mobile business straight at home, and you know, it was somewhat of a whim of an idea. There was no, like, I wasn't trying to build a big business. I was trying to get away from my kids for a couple of hours, you know, during the day and do something for myself. And because
adult conversation.
Yeah, and because I had spent so many years in hair, and I was like, this will be like a piece of cake for me. And
so how often were you doing, like how many?
So I put up my ex-husband, who's like the creative of Dry Bar. He made me a one-page website. I came up with the name Straight at Home, which I was quite proud of. I thought it like really checked all the boxes.
Right, because you're going straight to your home.
Well, straight at your home, straight hair at your home.
Yeah.
I'll come over when your baby's sleeping. I put up this like one-page website. I went to like all like the mommy groups all over town, and I was like, I'll come over while your baby's sleeping.
Every yoga class, you're like, here you go, here you go.
But what was amazing, and I think like the marketer and entrepreneur in me was so excited to start getting the calls, and that's what happened is I started getting, you know, calls to come to women's home, you know, women I didn't know. And I started building up this business where I was like, I really, you know, in theory, I don't think I actually made any money. I was charging $40 a client in between gas and driving all over and like my Nissan Xterra with a duffel bag in the back seat. You know, I was doing maybe 2 to 3 clients a day. Like it was nothing.
Yeah.
But it grew really fast, and I started getting calls, and I really was saying no way more than I was saying yes, because I still had to pick up my kids from preschool, and I just like
the point of the job was to be flexible.
Yes, and so, but well, you know, I'm so grateful that I did that and for that experience, because so much of that business has informed what Dry Bar ultimately became, and I really realized during that time when I was saying no to my clients, my next question to them was always, well, what do you do? Where do you go? And they're like, well, you know, either go to like the Fantastic Sam's like down the street, which they hated because like the lighting is bad. It's like the experience is bad. You don't know what you're getting. Or they would go to their cut and color salon where they're, you know, paying upwards of like $75 to $80 for a blowout, if not more. And they were like, so I just don't do it. And I was like, well, that's a shame, you know, because they loved it when they did it, and it gave them this extra boost of confidence, and they were really happy. And so that's when I went to my brother, who's bald and has no business in the hair world, and said, you know, I want to turn my mobile business into a brick and mortar. And this was 2010, or almost 2010. It was in the middle of a recession. You know, most women got the idea. Most men were like, this is the craziest thing. Like, even my brother's first response was like, why would a woman pay somebody else to blow out their hair? Now, this is 10 years ago, and I feel like men are a lot more savvy about blowouts now, but even still, men are like, what? What's a blowout? But women got it, and I mean, man, we had to personally guarantee that first lease in Brentwood, because the landlord was like, huh? Everybody was like, what the hell is this concept? And my brother had worked in real estate marketing, and he had a good friend who was an architect, this Harvard award-winning architect who built, you know, $1 million homes. And, you know, he was like, my little sister has an idea for like a hair salon concept. Would you do it with us? And he was like kind of in between projects, and his name is Josh Heitler, and he still to this day, 10 years later, builds all our stores. But
that's cool.
He was in, we couldn't afford him. We gave him a little bit of equity, and away we went, and
boom.
And it was just this crazy thing. And I remember going to Brentwood. God, I haven't thought about this in so long, but I remember going to Brentwood when we were under construction, and the shopping center was dead. Like there just there was nobody in sight, no women, nothing. And my brother was like, Alli, what the fuck? Where is everybody? And I was like, they're gonna come. It's like we will build it, and
they will come.
Yeah. And sure enough, you know, the first day we opened, we were booked solid. It was like, I mean, we hit the ground running. It was so unbelievable.
To me, it just totally shows that it's your calling. Like it's meant to be. It's you were in the flow of like what was needing to happen. You were feeling into it, and like you trusted. You had to have believed, right? I mean,
I did. I mean, and I think that, you know, the phrase "ignorance is bliss" very much applies to me. You know, I've always been a little bit head in the clouds. Like I'm really bad about knowing what's going on in the world and in the news, and I've never paid super close attention to that. I'm not super proud of that, but it's just who I am. And when we were looking at that first location, and everybody was like, you're crazy. Also, a lot of people told me the actual space we were looking at Brentwood. I remember a woman coming to me and being like, you know, every business that's been here has failed. I was like, oh, thanks for that. Yeah. But we're not going to. Yeah. And I was like, I really believe, at least in my little world in LA and the clients I had, I really believed that women would pay $35 to look really great. And I thought that they would probably go longer in between cuts and color because you kind of camouflage it with a really great blowout.
Right.
And that was it. That was my belief, and that was my dream, and that was my hope, and
There's
never
a power in
imagined.
believing.
Yeah.